Hello everyone, I'm Lars Bosman, born and raised in the Netherlands, lived there for 44 years, and I started diving in 2005. Before that I was always doing a lot of water sports, windsurfing, swimming. I was actually swimming when I was 4, and one day when I was a teenager I was in a swimming pool, and they brought in some tanks, and I got to breathe from a tank for the very first time, and that was amazing. It was 1.5 meter deep or something like that, like 5 feet. Not really something special, but I liked the feeling. And then fast forward about 10 years, I was in Malaysia snorkeling, and I heard the knispering sound of the corals. I saw a turtle, and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely need to go in scuba diving. However, I first decided to become a workaholic. Didn't take any vacations, but then I thought, okay, this is the time. So in 2005 I went for a 3-week trip to Egypt, saw all the things, the temples, the pyramids, but also 1 week of Red Sea, and I really, I went diving. My second open water dive, I saw a dolphin, so pretty good start of my diving career. And it was October when I came back to the Netherlands. I decided, okay, I want to make a dive in the Netherlands, and different, green quarry water. It was end of October, so water was getting cold, but I still enjoyed it. And yeah, that's how it started. A little bit later, the next year, I wanted to go back to Egypt, but I had to be advanced certified for that. And so I took my advanced course, and during my advanced course my instructor said, I see a dive master in you. And I gave it a little thought, and 14 months after I started my advanced open water, I actually became instructor. So, and I did teaching in the Netherlands like a lot of people do, next to their own job, in the weekends and in the evenings and in your free time. But I really liked it. And in my daytime job, I used to be a business analyst and project manager in IT. I was a lot involved with every time writing system procedures, like standard operating procedures, like work instructions, like giving training also. And in 2013, 2014, I went through a divorce, and I thought, okay, it's now or never. So I started looking for a place where I could become a full-time dive instructor. And after some hiccups, I thought, well, on paper, Bonaire has everything I'm looking for. Never been here, but a friend of mine said, yeah, maybe I know the dive operations manager at Buddy Dive. That's his Facebook. Send him a message. I sent him a message. He said, this is my email address. I sent him an application, and within 24 hours I had a job. It's the easiest job interview I've ever had. And yeah, what's not to love on Bonaire? I've been here now for well over 9 years, all the time working at Buddy Dive Resort. But the island itself, it's beautiful. Diving conditions year round are amazing. The diving is easy, but there is a lot of different diving you can do. So that's really cool of being here. And yeah, I made that decision. I never been to Bonaire, came here, and yeah, 9 years later, I'm still here, and I'm really enjoying life and diving. Okay, yeah, technical diving. Technical diving here on Bonaire is amazing. I have been, I actually started my training already in the Netherlands. Well, my first certification on the tech level was NAUI Intro to Tech, which I did in 2009, and had some problems with some teammates dropping out due to life, married, getting children, getting a divorce, things like that. So only in 2012 I found a group of people I could join to do my first cave course, NAUI Cave 1 in Hungary, which was a very interesting experience. We made some dives in Kobanya mine, and at that time the Molna János was closed, so we went all the way up north in an area where it was very rural, but there was an amazing cave where we finished off the rest of our courses. Then I did some more NAUI Tech training. I did NACD full cave in Mexico with a Dutch instructor, Maarten Verbouw. I went for some more cave diving a lot in Europe, in France, in Germany, some submerged mine diving. So did quite some things. I also did my first tech course, NAUI Heliotrox diver, and made some dives in those cold artificial lakes. Nothing to see, but just to build up experience. And then I came here to Bonaire, where Buddy Dive has a very good tech facility. Later on did my GUI fundamentals, GUI Tech 1, GUI DPV, GUI documentation diver. So I'm a bit jack of all trades. I've seen a lot of different training agencies, but because I'm a PADI course director, I went the PADI way, but only after the new PADI Tech program was launched, because it is now more up to date, talking about gas densities, about narcotic values, about adding helium earlier to your mixes, things like that. Also, now certain skills are dictated to be, everything is dictated to be done in neutral buoyancy, but also like mass removal replacement, neutral buoyancy in horizontal position. So really cool improvements. And at the moment I am PADI Tech 50 Trimix instructor trainer, and I'm full Trimix instructor, working towards my full Trimix instructor trainer. And next week, really cool, I'm starting off with my PADI CCR 40 instructor on the dive right Choptima, which I have been diving only since October, but I already raked in quite a number of dives and hours because it's such an easy system to dive with. And in 2019 I got my first rebreather certification on the XCCR, so I also have some TDI tech certifications. So yeah, I've seen a lot of different training organizations and done a lot of different training. But yeah, currently my biggest passion is working towards CCR instructor and eventually CCR instructor trainer. But things like that take time, but it's a good thing, because you can buy your courses, but you cannot buy experience. And I'm lucky to be here on Bonaire, where deep diving is easy, where your decos are amazing, because you have a beautiful reef. It's like a treat. It's not like being in the middle of the blue, just sitting out your time. You're just cruising or drifting along the reef, and that makes it so awesome. And still, yeah, as I said before, my first love well, my first real tech experience was cave diving. Never went on the path of tech diving because of cave diving, but yeah, more rolled into it and then discovered, oh, this is my true love in diving. So yeah, that will always be my biggest love in cave diving or in tech diving. Gear-wise, yeah, I'm again a jack of all trades. I dive for recreational. I dive a Hydros Light from Dive Right. In tech, I always dive back mount, and that's a very nice discussion we can have versus back mount versus side mount tech diving. I have my reasons why I choose back mount, and if I would ever meet you, I would love to have a beer with you and we can discuss this in detail, because but for me, I like to dive my doubles. I have a Halcyon carbon backplate and a 40 pounds wing. If I would go a little bit heavier, I also have a 60 pound wing. I have a Santi E-Light, no, it's Emotion custom dry suit. And yes, sometimes I dive here on Bonaire dry suit, especially if I make longer deco dives. I want to stay well hydrated. I have a P valve, so yeah, for a 3-hour dive where I rake up some serious deco obligation, I'd love to be well hydrated, so I can pee freely, and it keeps me warm, because after 3 hours, and especially at depth, temperatures can plummet to about 70 degrees. Yeah. Then your wetsuit gets a little bit cold. As mentioned before, I'm also a Choptima diver right now. What I love about the machine, its ease of taking it. You can use your regular tech equipment, put on some additional hoses, and just clip it on, and you go. And yeah, so I'm very surprised by the ease of diving with it, and the user friendliness. So really looking forward on making a lot of more dives on my Choptima, and as said, being an instructor on it. Some places, yeah, where are some nice places for me to dive? Well, obviously Bonaire. It is so easy to dive here. There are so many dive sites that you can go deep, but for recreational diving, you do not have to go deep. Very simple. You can just stay around 50 foot, 15 meters, which is really nice. There is quite some variation here on the island, especially if you would visit the east side of the island, because the reefs are quite different there. However, it's not the easiest way to dive. Most of the time we recommend people to book a boat trip with a specialized operator that operates from the east coast. Yeah, other places. I have very good memories of the Lot region in France, which is very nice for cave diving. On the other hand, I've been in Florida, which was also amazing for cave diving. Yeah, so basically any place where I can dive in caves always has something. But yeah, some of the other things here at Buddy Dive, we have twice a year an event, Operation CCR and Tech Week, and for me those are some of the most amazing weeks of the year, because I get to dive on places where I can't come because we always go by boat, and so it's for me, oh, it's going, and I need to think about dives that are really awesome. And oh yeah, some people will be following me, and I get paid to do that. So that and there are so many cool dive sites here, because you have Red Slave with the old 19th century anchors that were lost by the salt ships. You have Capata with also some old anchors and a modern anchor, and Capata runs down to well over 300 feet. You have Forest on Klein Bonaire, which is amazing. Off the coast of Klein Bonaire on the west side, southwest side, there is a second reef which is amazing, and it's pristine because hardly anyone dives it. Further up north, around Candyland and Playa France, the reef is also at depth. It is just stunning. So there are so many places here on the island that are so amazing for to make tech dives. It's unbelievable. And then your deco on the really beautiful shallow reefs, that's again like a treat. So I have been talking about some dives in general. My most amazing dives. One of the dives I made at Lacaille, and I know some people that I took on those dives. If you go on a CCR with a DPV, you can cruise quite a long time, and there was one dive that saw a reef shark, a nurse shark, like 10 eagle rays. We stopped counting turtles because we saw more than 100 turtles passing by. That's like 2.5 hours of like overload. It was so amazing, and I like to take people on that guided dive, especially with DPVs, because then you can cover quite some distance, and it is amazing. Another dive, one of my favorite caves in France is Troumadam. It's in the Lot region. It's to get there, especially if you have a little bit higher water, it's a bit of a tricky cave to get there, because you have to climb over a ledge, because there is a little stream with wide water, so you can't wade through it because you cannot see where you step. But the cave itself, it's not too deep. I think the deepest I've been there is about 50 foot, but it starts off a little bit wider, and then you have some really beautiful canyons with almost black rocks to yellow, almost white rocks. Really amazing dive. In Mexico, a dive that I was really liking was Chen Hole. That's amazing. There's a small beginning and how it later on opens up, and there you see the black spots of where people used to live and make fire. That is mind-blowing that we can now swim through that. So that is so cool to see. So that's also one of those dives that really sticks with me. As we know, diving is not without risks, and I wouldn't be truthful if I would say nothing ever went wrong. My very first time was actually, I wasn't diving that long. It was my first winter that I was diving in the Netherlands, and the Meuse River was really high, but the owner of the dive shop said, "Yeah, I know there is a small hand ferry, and I want to measure it. We now have some time." And he was saying, "Yeah, after this bridge, then the fourth tree." But we had a little bit trouble finding the trees because the river was so high. And when the river is high, the current is also strong, and the visibility is like really this. really, I could barely see my own hands in front of my mask. And then with a guy with about 60 dives, they luckily had a rope. They had a rope on me towards the shore. But yeah, then going, feeling down, and I found the wreck. But also because of the rope, I got tangled, and I really tried to find my way out, and I really was like, okay, this doesn't work. So I took out my knife and I cut through the line, and they had to pick me up 200 meters, 200 yards further down, because that was how big the current was before I could get back onto shore. In hindsight, but yeah, that's something we always are good in hindsight bias. It wasn't the best idea to send the least experienced of all the guys as first into the water. But they thought, yeah, let him locate the wreck, and then the other people can do the measurement. But after my experience, they decided, okay, let's not do it. Another time, that was in a cave on a small Caribbean island, where there are rumors about caves, but people do not disclose that. I was in one of those caves diving with my buddy, and I found a opening, and it looked, when I looked through it, like, okay, it goes. So I was reeling out, went through the opening, and it was a bit of a funny half sideways, then a sort of corkscrew that I had to go down, and it was a bit of a squeeze. So I went through. Visibility was gone because the rock was very soft, so it was complete no visibility. And I waited for 5 minutes, and my buddy didn't come. So I decided, okay, I go back, because my buddy was a little bit wider than me in this sense, and he said later on, he tried to get through, but I got back, and I tried to get through. Yeah, I swam my way up, and I got stuck. And I really felt the panic starting to, like, oh my God, I'm stuck here. And I started really realizing, like, stop. You have enough gas, breathe. You have gone through it on the way in. You can make it through the way out. But the thing is, I was very close to panicking. If I would have panicked, I would have stayed there, and I wouldn't have come out. And yeah, and those are the things. Yeah, you need to realize, especially if you push things, there is a risk. And I had done several situations where I already had no visibility exits and things like that, so that wasn't the thing, but it was really the fear that started creeping up, like, oh my God, I can't get out here. And yeah, so those are yeah, I think the two things that I can say, yeah, that was definitely a near miss. Yeah, as we know, the ocean is in a very bad, well, not the ocean, our world is under a lot of stress. We see it back in the ocean. What we've seen here this year, we have had quite a severe bleaching. Last year we also had, in November, December, we had quite severe bleaching. So 2 years in a row. We had early early last year, we had Skittle D that came to the island, which had also ravaged other reefs in the Caribbean. So there are a lot of challenges, and I'm very proud that I'm part of the reef. Well, I cooperate with Reef Renewal Foundation. I'm a reef renewal instructor. The Reef Renewal Foundation here on Bonaire is doing doing really great work in growing corals, outplanting them, but also helping corals in propagating, so collecting coral spawn. And I think that one of the biggest things that we have, challenges that we have, is the changing climate, human impact, and how can we balance that out. The foundation is trying to find now means to find the best corals that are heat resilient, helping them propagate, so to repopulate the reefs. So that is one very big aspect. And the other aspect is divers. Unfortunately, I still see too many people that are asking an insane amount of weight. They are then plowing through the water. It can't be a fun experience for themselves, but can't you blame the divers? Nope. You need to blame that instructor. And in a lot of cases, you even can't blame the instructor. You need to blame the course director. I heard a fellow course director once saying, why should I teach my instructors to teach neutral buoyancy teaching? Because on an IE you can't score a 6. But it is not about the IE. It is about creating people that are good divers, and you do not rise to the occasion. You will fall back to your level of training. And when you're a beginning instructor, when you see that, what will you do if you've learned to, boom, sit down on your knees? You will do that because that is your strong position. That is what you're used to, and it takes quite a long time to develop that. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges in the dive industry. And I see it change, and I see people getting more and more aware. But for me, that as a course director myself, it's a huge responsibility to teach people that neutral buoyancy is the way, because that protects the reef, but it also makes your diving so much more fun. Yeah? So yeah, I think that's the most important. That's the second thing that we are facing here in the dive environments, because yeah, if people do not control the buoyancy properly, they will kick our already damaged corals, but also a general awareness, because people swim through soft corals like, yeah, but they don't break. No, but it's still not good if you swim through them. So yeah. Okay, so to finish off, as I hope you could see, I'm quite passionate about diving. On the other hand, there is still so much to learn, and I love to keep on growing. As you hear, some of the tanks are on the background right now. I love to keep on growing, and I'd like to learn from other people. And sometimes you learn even from your open water students, or even from a Discover Scuba Diving participant. So if you are on Bonaire, please come visit me, talk to me, we can have a dive. Even better, maybe we can do some training together. Whatever you want, I'm always open. You can find me on Insta under Lars_dives, or on Facebook on Lars Bosman. That's Bosman.